Welcome to Platform Podcast, where we discuss how to solve productivity problems across platforms. I'm Augusto Pinaud,
And I'm Art Gelwicks.
and apparently, after more than 40 episodes, I cannot pronounce the name of our show today.
That's
Correct.
okay. That's okay.
So today we are going to be talking about news, and we have three news. So one is the future of Chromebooks. The other one is the Honors Earbuds 3. And finally, the Papermate from Yuhei and their new trying to get e-ink tablet supremacy. So let's begin from the pens. I'm excited about the pens.
Yeah, this is a new standard. They've updated the USI standard to USI 2.0. When you look at most digital pens on Chromebooks, the old standard had either a full USB-C port on the pen or even some cases replaceable batteries. The USI 2.0 standard allows for wireless recharging of the pen itself. So you'll see more that work like an S Pen, where you don't have an external power supply necessary to charge it and make it work. They've stepped up the resolution. They've stepped up the it's about, I believe it was about 26. Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, it's a higher resolution pickup. It's not quite as high as you would have, or DPI. It's not as high as you have with an S Pen, but it's way better than what you had before. So these changes to me are showing that there's a commitment to these pens on the Chromebooks themselves. And I think there has to be, because if you're going to continue using these types of digital pens with Chromebooks, they have to improve. The quality is good, but the resolution, you need to get it closer and closer to actual paper level interaction. What worries me a little bit, though, is I think Chromebook software is lagging behind with pen recognition capabilities. Most of the time, what you have to use is you have to use an app for it. Something like Squid, something like Nebo. Those work really well, and they're fine, and they interact with it fine. But the browser-based applications just don't seem to be quite there yet. OneNote supports it to a certain degree, but still not at that same resolution level. So I'm hoping that seeing this new standard come out and seeing new devices coming out supporting this standard is going to help push that ball forward.
I was just thinking about that. What was the name of the Google program? It was announced with one of the, I don't remember, was now Lenovo or Samsung, who
Oh, I
Google
know what you're
partnered
talking about.
with for digital
And
notebooks.
I think it's called Canvas. I think it was Google Canvas. I could be wrong, but I think that might have been it.
Yeah, I don't remember the name, but I will be curious now that this changed. And the other thing, I love that magnetic charging because it is really, the iPad. Initially, you connect it on the iPad and it charged, and I never had many problems running out of battery. They charge really quick. But I need to admit that I love the magnetic thing on my iPad Pro. It really makes a difference. It's always full charge. It's always there. I didn't have to now have that thing on the back to put the iPad or to put a pencil. So it is really, really nice. I like the fact that they're copying that. And even the new Lenovo Duets, the 3 as well as the 5, now, when you look at the back of the iPad, they have a slot to put the pencil now that I think, again, it's a move on the right direction.
I think you have to have that. And a good example of somebody who didn't, when Samsung released the Fold, they did not provide storage for the stylus. You actually had to get a case that had a groove in the back, and that's cumbersome. I use a Note 20 Ultra. It's got a hole for the stylus. You need some way to actually retain it. The tablet I have magnetically holds the stylus to it. And you wouldn't think that's that big of a deal, except when you're actually using the device. I'll sit there and I'll have the tablet set up with a keyboard in front of it, and I use the stylus as a mouse control at times. So I'm not laying it down on my desk. I'm sticking it to the top of the tablet by the magnets all the time.
Mhm.
So it's available and it's fully charged and it's ready to go. So it's a very big piece of usability, but it feels very minor. But I'm glad to see that they're starting to address this. And there are optional features that different manufacturers are going to be able to take advantage. The standard now supports tilt on the pens. So instead of everything being just like a felt tip pen
Right.
dot, now you can tip it over and you can get a different type of shading. It will also support, and you'll like this, up to 16 million inking colors, up from
Mhm.
256 below or before. So again, the standard is improving and expanding. We just need to see people put it into use.
But I think is that the more features and easy to make you make it, the more I will be likely to use the product. I use the Apple Pencil because that's my digital
Hmm.
notebook, and I cannot justify to upgrade from iPad Mini 5 to an iPad Mini 6. Okay? There is no, that's a notebook. Okay, there's nothing I can do to justify. But I'm going to admit the idea that the pencil in the iPad Mini 6 is magnetic and it's always charged, that's always been a temptation for me.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you can have. I remember having one of the styluses that you charged off of USB. Actually, it was a mini or micro USB connection. Having that die in
Mhm.
mid-use. It's like, well, now I'm stuck
Right.
because now I have half of the content handwritten. Now I have to put the rest of it in typed. So it's really important that act like a physical device. And I think this is going to get us closer to that.
Yep.
Next item up for bids.
So our
This
next item is Honor's earbuds.
this is interesting. I saw this and I was kind of surprised, and I actually raised the question to my wife, would she be interested in something like this because of the feature? And the feature is that Honor's Earbuds 3 Pro are coming with built-in temperature monitoring. While you're wearing the earbuds, it has a sensor on it that can monitor your body temperature. Now, thinking about the chaos that we've been through over the past few years, from a health standpoint, I think that's really interesting.
Mhm.
I wonder if it's too narrow of a scope as of right now, but I also wonder if this may not be the way we open the door to better or more health sensors becoming available and not requiring a smartwatch to provide them. So if you're an athlete, you have a choice. You could wear a smartwatch, or what if your earbuds could not only tell your temperature, but could monitor your pulse rate and monitor your blood ox? Now you've got a different experience. So I think it's an interesting door opener. I'll be very curious to see how well it's received, how accurate they actually are. But I like the idea of being able to take advantage of these little guys that you have stuck in your ear and doing more than just pumping sound out of them.
Yep.
They don't look exceptionally large.
They don't.
The battery life seems to be comparable with what you would see. Um, the only downside is that currently they will not be sold in the US, but we may see others or other competitors brought out to be able to make those available. So I would look to see more and more of the earbud or ear configuration health monitoring devices. So
And I think we are going to see a lot more of that. That is really, really, really interesting. So the next one comes from Android Police, and he talks about the UA Mate Pad. And I don't know what they think they takes on the Kindle Paperwhite when looking at the device and all that. It looks more to competitor for the Remarkable
mhm.
than the Kindle Paperwhite, actually.
Yeah, I think this is actually an article mistake. Trying to compare it to a Paperwhite, because a Paperwhite is just that. It's just an e-reader.
It's an
Whereas
e-reader. I will bring this to the table. Why Amazon hasn't released yet one with ink?
I don't know either. And I wonder if it's the underpinnings of the operating system that's necessary.
Ah,
Um, but even then, you, none of these devices are asking or providing near tablet level functionality through an e-ink configuration. So it can't be that tough. It can't be
it
that big of a
should not.
deal.
And I will buy if Amazon release an e-ink note-taking device. I will buy that thing on announcement.
Yeah, I mean that's the type of thing where there are companies who easily could do that. Honestly, Microsoft is a good candidate if they were to take a variant of OneNote and put it on there. They've already got the software to run it. And it doesn't have to do anything else besides that because we're not asking it to be a true tablet. I think the big thing with the e-reader is one, these are fairly large. These are 10.3 inches, but even so, 10.3 is not massive. It's not the size
That's
of
not
a
massive.
standard,
That's
it's not the size of a standard piece of notebook paper. Uh, I think the big thing on this and laptop manufacturers and two-in-one manufacturers and accessory manufacturers need to get on the boat and start producing matte anti-glare screen protectors, ones that provide a textured surface. There are a few of them out there. There's a couple out on iPad, I know that, but for the most part, there aren't a lot of them out there. That can totally change the experience of writing on these types of devices. And then you have to wonder, okay, so what's really the benefit? This, when you look at the pen part of it, it's okay. I mean, it's got a 26 millisecond latency, which is 10 times slower than what the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra provides through their pen. But it's good enough that you can write with it. It'll feel okay. But not at this price point. I mean, this price point is just ridiculous compared to what it's offering in functionality. So I know we know people who are big fans of the Remarkable, have ideas with it. They like the concept. I like the concept. I just wish these guys would stop dragging their feet on bringing this price point down because I think it could do a lot if they get it into a place where it is much more competitive to the thing that it is replacing, which is pen and paper, rather than trying to replace another piece of tech like an iPad.
I completely agree with you. But, well, let's see. Check the device. It's interesting. But this is the end of our news section. So follow us where you like to listen to podcasts. Like us or subscribe to us and leave us a review. You can also interact with us on personalproductivity.club. We're Augusto Pinaud and Art Gelwicks. And see you next time from your favorite device.